I'd like to introduce our next speaker this morning, Mr. Andrew Pardey, Managing Director of Predictive Discovery. Andrew is a geologist with more than 30 years' experience covering exploration, project development, construction and operation. He served as the CEO of the $2 billion LSE and TSX-listed Centamin, which owns the 450,000 ounce per annum Sukari gold mine in Egypt. Andrew was a major driving force in bringing Sukari into production, having joined during the transition of the operation from construction into production. He has also held senior management roles at the Anglo Gold Ashanti Siguiri mine and Nord Gold Leifa mine, both of which are located in Guinea-Siguiri Basin, which also hosts Predictive Discovery's Bankan project. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Andrew Pardey.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction, and thank you for everyone that's come here to listen. I'm here to give you an update and talk about what we believe will be West Africa's next tier 1 gold mine. There's the usual forward-looking statements, etc. And then company highlights. We've got all the ingredients for a tier 1 gold mine with additional potential for further discoveries along strike. We are ASX listed, we've got a market cap of just over $351 million. And we're continuing on with drilling at the Bankan project in Guinea and West Africa. We've just, this morning, updated our latest resource. We now have a resource of 5.38 million ounces at NEB and BC. And importantly, 77% of that resource, or 4.14 million ounces, is now in the indicated category. And we've also got additional growth in the underground resource that has grown up to almost 900,000 ounces at a grade of 4.07, and there's further upside. And our main focus for now until the end of the year is on delivering the scoping study to the Government of Guinea. We also have the right management team in place. We've got our board of directors. Simon Jackson is the chairman. Simon's been very experienced across West Africa from his days at Redback, etc. Myself as the MD, spent 10 years in Guinea previously. Sandra Bates. Sandra is a lawyer based out of London who is also head of our ESG committee, and Stephen Michael, who is here in Australia. And also importantly, we've got our management team, and I'll just say on that management team, with the exception of Brad Milne, the corporate development manager, everyone else is based in Guinea. One of the first things that I did do was to shut down the Perth office and relocate everyone across to Guinea, so that we're demonstrating to the government of Guinea and the various stakeholders that we are serious about developing this project in Guinea. And probably, one of the most important people in that management team is Malietou Balde. Malietou was a geologist that worked with me previously at Siguiri, and in fact she was the first female geologist to be promoted to that position in West Africa at that time. This is over 20 years, this is more than 23 years ago now. But she is our country manager, she's the face of the company in Guinea when we're going to have our meetings with the various stakeholders in Guinea. Okay, but there's a quick overview. On the research side, we're covered by 7 different groups, etc. And our technical partners are ERM, CSA Global, we've got Mintrex, we've got Biotope, Insuco, Eco Guinea, all assisting in various stages of the resource development work and the environmental and social studies. And our biggest shareholder is BlackRock. BlackRock has participated in our last couple of raises, and they've also continued to buy on market, and they currently hold almost 13% of the company. The other major shareholder is Capital, that holds just under 10% of the company. The Bankan Gold Project. Basically, as I said, the NEB resource is 4.89 million ounces at a grade of 1.72, and the BC resource just nearby is 500,000 ounces at a grade of 1.24. We've put just over 84,000 metres of drilling into this project to get to the resource where we are today. It's a straightforward open pit operation and then underground below the existing pit. Straightforward metallurgy, we've done the metallurgical test work, it's all amenable to conventional CIL with up to over 50% of that gold recoverable by gravity processing. As I said, the scoping study will be delivered to the Government of Guinea at the end of this year, and we also have 35 kilometres of strike length from where NEB sits to the north that also needs to be explored. So this is the main thing, and this has really been the big thing that we put out today. Our previous resource was 4.18 million ounces. And we've now upgraded that to 5.38 million ounces, with 500,000 ounces coming from the NEB open pit, just over 500,000 ounces addition in the underground, and Bankan Creek's had an addition of 160,000 ounces. So we've moved from 1.7 million ounces in the indicated category through to 4.14 million ounces indicated, and the inferred has gone from 2.43 to 1.23. So overall, just over a 1.2 million ounce increase in resources. So a little bit about Guinea, just quickly on Guinea. Guinea has a very strong mining culture. It's one of the biggest exporters of bauxite in the world. You've got 80 k's to the north, we've got the Seguri gold mine, and then 100 k's north-northwest of us, we've got Nordgold's Leifa operation. Just next door to us, Hummingbird has just commissioned their Carusa gold project, and further to the east of us, we've got Managem at the Tri-K operation, and to the south of us, Robex is currently redeveloping the old Caniro operations, and there's also the development going in for the iron ore projects down on the Semendu ranges. So Guinea knows and understands mining very, very well. Again, just a quick overview, I've talked about this, but you can see where we sit on the edge of the Seguri Basin, on the basin margin. And the Seguri Basin area is renowned for being one of the major areas for gold having been discovered, and also for further discoveries on that basin margin, which is exactly where the Bankan project sits. Importantly, as part of our scoping study work, we sit on the outer buffer zone. The BC and the NEB resources sit in the outer buffer zone of the Upper Niger National Park. BC is 18 kilometres from the core zone of the national park, and NEB is 21 kilometres from the core zone of the national park. So part of the process for the scoping study is undertaking the environmental and social studies, seasonal studies, etc., and also providing updates to the Government of Guinea. In fact, last week I was down there with the Ministry for Environment and Sustainability, providing them with further updates on our ecological, biological and social studies, which all form part of the overall process. As it presently stands, we sit in the outer buffer zone. Certain types of development are allowed and other types of development are not allowed. Mining at this stage is not allowed to be developed in the outer buffer zone, but what you do is you deliver your scoping study to the Government of Guinea, you go through all the economic, social benefits, and also how you're going to provide assistance for conservation in the core zone. It's not a precedent, it's happened before in Guinea, but you've just got to make sure that your scoping study is delivered to a standard that will be accepted by the Government of Guinea. And that's why we're in regular dialogue with them, and when we're doing the environmental work, social work, they're actively involved in the process as well. So that it's a collaboration agreement with everyone working together. Okay, this is just an example. Earlier in the year we had analysts, we had a group of Australian analysts and also some UK and European analysts come to site. The photo on the left, that's in the core zone of the Upper Niger National Park, and the photo on the right, that's 21 kilometres away. That's where the NEB project sits. So you can see there's a significant difference in the landscapes across those areas. Okay, just moving on to a little bit more detail, because the resource update today, the NEB deposit, it's basically the resource is reported within an US $1,800 pit shell. And you can see through on the slide on the left, basically all the red within that slide on the left, that's all in the indicated category. And then the green below that is in the inferred category, predominantly in the underground resource. And then moving to the slide on the right, you can see that red zone within the open pit. That's the high-grade core of the open pit that that red zone's running at 5.21 grams per tonne, and that's been part of a resource update. And then below that, you've got the free zones in the underground resource as well. You've got the main zones, and then you've got the two splay zones coming off it, and that underground resource is a grade of just over 4.07 grams per tonne. So we've seen a significant increase in the grade of the open pit. Previously that high-grade area was at 4.5, it's now running at 5.21. The deepest hole we've drilled into the project was hole 113. That is 1.3 kilometres down plunge, and we know the structure is still open down through that area. but our focus has been on resource conversion, tightening up for geology, improving the geological models, and adding to the resource. Now, this resource is a resource that will go into the scoping study, which we're on target to deliver to the Government of Guinea at the end of this year. Bankan Creek, that's 3 kilometres away. Again, we did a lot of re-logging on that project. The previous drilling that had been done on that, the geology wasn't really well understood, so we re-logged all that. Then we put in a series of diamond drill holes, and from that we were able to update the resource and also reclassify some of that resource into the indicated category from what was previously before all inferred. As I said before, we've got very straightforward, simple metallurgy, conventional C8, conventional CIL, P80 of 75 microns, and recoveries of over 92%, plus the gravity recoveries of over 50% of the gold coming out from gravity up front. So that has major implications in process plant design, etc., with so much of the gold being able to be recovered through the gravity circuits. Okay. The other important thing we've got the near resource. The blue outlines there are basically the NEB, the BC and Benbedden resource areas, but in and around that area there's a lot of shallow drilling, air core and auger results that all require follow-up, and there is RC drilling underway as we speak to follow up on those various targets. And I mean, some of the grades that you see through there, you've got like up to the top right-hand side, you've got 8 metres at 5.1, you've got 8 metres at 2.7, then coming down across to 800 west, you've got 6 metres at 5.9, you've got 6 metres at 19.3. You can see there's a lot of noise in and around that area that is all currently being followed up with RC drilling. And then on the regional perspective, you can see NEB and BC down there. We've got 35 kilometres of strike length running up through those permits, up through to Argo, etc., which all have very strong indications of mineralisation from the auger work and the regional mapping. And in fact, we're now RC drilling up at Argo in this area. We've just commenced RC drilling up there, and we're expecting to provide an update on the results from Argo in the coming weeks, which we believe have the opportunity to be very, very significant. The reason we say that, the top slide, basically looking at these 2 projects, you can see you've got, the top one is Argo, the bottom one is NEB. Both those slides, if you didn't have the labels, they look almost identical. You've got the depletion zones, you've got the east-west positive trends, etc. So that's why we're very excited about, potentially the Argo area being the next NEB. And again, the same thing. We did a series of geophysics, gradient array IP and dipole-dipole work across those areas. The top picture is basically NEB, and then we did the same work across the Argo area, and we're seeing very, very similar similarities. So obviously the thing now is the drilling, etc. And the RC rig is now up in the Argo area, seeing what we can come up with, and all being very positive. It's potentially another discovery along the 35 kilometres of strike length. So look, really, in summary, there's an exciting future. We believe there's a lot more to find, a lot more to be developed on this project, and that's why we are calling it Guinea's, West Africa's next Tier 1 gold mine. As I said, there's a 5.4 million ounce resource at NEB and BC with further upside. 77% of that resource is now into the indicated category. We're on target to deliver the scoping study and the ESA work to the Government of Guinea at the end of this year to facilitate permitting in the first half of next year. As I said, there's further prospective permits for additional large-scale discoveries, which from the IP work, the geophysical work we've done, that show lots of similar signatures to NEB. So we believe there's a lot more ounces to be found in that 35 kilometres. We've got the right management team in place, and we're also well funded, and we have a very, very strong backing from our institutional shareholders across Australia, UK, Europe, and North America. So with that, I would like to say thank you. But I will just say one thing. We put out a resource today with an additional 1.2 million ounces. The share price hasn't moved, so you can buy the shares today with an extra 1.2 million ounces in your pocket. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. We might skip the Q&A given we're running a little bit behind time. If you did want to go and ask Andrew where you can buy some of these very undervalued shares, but please go and see him at his booth. Thanks very much, Andrew.